You've been told countless times, just think positive. Manifest your desires through sheer willpower and unwavering optimism. But what if this well-intentioned advice, pushed relentlessly in self-help circles, is actually fragile? What if the relentless pursuit of positivity, ignoring the shadows, leaves you unprepared and ultimately more vulnerable when reality inevitably bites back? There's a hidden cost to ignoring the potential for storms while basking in imagined sunlight. Consider the possibility that true strength, genuine resilience, isn't forged in the denial of difficulty, but in its acknowledgment. What if there exists a different path? A form of optimism that doesn't require you to ignore the cracks in the foundation, but instead empowers you to face them, perhaps even anticipate them, without losing hope or the drive to act. This isn't about negativity. It's about a deeper, more grounded way of navigating the world. Imagine an outlook that embraces the full spectrum of reality, the potential for setbacks, the presence of obstacles, the undeniable hardships of existence, yet still maintains a core belief in your ability to navigate them. This perspective doesn't promise effortless success, but it offers something potentially more valuable: the resilience to endure, adapt, and continue striving even when things don't go according to the perfect, positive plan. This isn't pessimism disguised. It's not about dwelling on the negative or expecting the worst. Instead, it's a philosophy whispered through ages, echoed in the halls of ancient wisdom schools, suggesting that clear sight, combined with enduring hope and focused action, forms the bedrock of a truly optimistic and effective life. It asks us to look at the world and ourselves with honesty, acknowledging limitations without succumbing to despair. What is this potent blend of acceptance and aspiration? How does acknowledging potential failure paradoxically make us stronger and more capable of achieving meaningful success? The answers lie not in modern platitudes, but in rediscovering ancient strategies for mental fortitude and navigating uncertainty. We will explore how to cultivate an optimism that is not brittle, but robust, grounded, and ultimately, far more powerful. Stay with us as we uncover realistic optimism. The allure of unqualified positive thinking is undeniable. It promises control in an uncontrollable world, suggesting that our thoughts alone can sculpt reality to our liking. If we just focus intensely enough on success, health, and happiness, these things must surely manifest. This narrative taps into a deep human desire for certainty and agency, offering a simple, attractive formula: think good thoughts, get good results. It feels empowering, almost magical. However, this relentless focus on the positive often comes with a dangerous blind spot. By actively suppressing or ignoring potential problems, negative emotions, or challenging realities, we engage in a form of denial. This toxic positivity can invalidate genuine struggles, both our own and others, creating pressure to perform happiness even amidst suffering. It fosters guilt for feeling anything less than perfectly optimistic, hindering authentic emotional processing. Furthermore, when reality inevitably presents obstacles, a project fails, a relationship falters, illness strikes, the person solely reliant on naive positive thinking can be shattered. Their worldview hasn't accounted for adversity. Lacking the tools to process setbacks, they may blame themselves excessively. "I didn't think positively enough," or become deeply disillusioned, swinging towards cynicism. Their optimism, built on shaky ground, crumbles under pressure. This is where realistic optimism enters the frame. It is not the absence of hope, but hope tempered with wisdom. It is the capacity to maintain a positive outlook and believe in one's ability to cope and strive, while simultaneously acknowledging the very real challenges, risks, and potential negative outcomes that exist. It's about seeing the whole picture, not just the sunny parts. Realistic optimism doesn't mean expecting failure, but it does mean preparing for possibilities. It understands that positive outcomes often require navigating difficulties, not simply wishing them away. This grounded perspective fosters proactive planning and problem-solving rather than passive hope. It says, "I hope for the best, I acknowledge the potential worst, and I will prepare to act effectively regardless." This approach finds deep resonance in ancient philosophical traditions, particularly Stoicism. The Stoics, philosophers like Seneca, Epictetus, and Marcus Aurelius, were masters of mental resilience. They didn't advocate for burying one's head in the sand. Instead, they taught the importance of understanding and accepting reality exactly as it is, including its inherent difficulties and uncertainties. A cornerstone of Stoic practice relevant here is the concept of accepting what is outside our control. We cannot command external events, the weather, the actions of others, misfortune. Naive positive thinking often pretends we can. Stoicism, however, directs our focus inward towards what we can control: our judgments, our responses, our intentions, our actions. True power lies not in changing the world by thought alone, but in mastering our inner world. This acceptance isn't passive resignation. It's the foundation for effective action. By understanding what we cannot change, we free up immense energy to focus on what we can. A realistic optimist, informed by Stoicism, doesn't waste time railing against inevitable difficulties. They assess the situation clearly and ask, given this reality, what is the most virtuous and constructive way I can respond right now? Furthermore, the Stoics practice something seemingly counterintuitive to modern positivity culture: premeditatio malorum, or the premeditation of evils. This involves deliberately contemplating potential negative outcomes: illness, loss, failure. Not to morbidly dwell on them, but to mentally rehearse, reducing their shock value and building psychological resilience should they occur. It's the practice of anticipating storms to build a stronger ship. This practice strips potential future calamities of their terror. By considering what if this happened, in a calm, rational state, we can prepare mentally and even practically. If we fear losing our job, we might save more diligently or update our skills. If we fear illness, we might focus more on healthy habits. This proactive preparation, born from acknowledging unpleasant possibilities, is a hallmark of realistic optimism. Stoicism also emphasizes focusing on virtuous action and effort, rather than solely on the outcome. Success is often outside our direct control, influenced by luck and external factors. What is within our control is acting with wisdom, courage, justice, and temperance. Realistic optimism finds satisfaction and maintains motivation through diligent effort and right action, irrespective of guaranteed success, which is never truly guaranteed. Beyond Stoicism, realistic optimism aligns strongly with the principles of critical thinking. It demands an objective evaluation of situations, weighing evidence, considering different perspectives, and acknowledging biases, especially confirmation bias, the tendency to seek out information that confirms our pre-existing beliefs, like the belief that everything will always turn out perfectly if we just think positively. Naive positive thinking often involves wishful thinking, mistaking desires for reality. Critical thinking, conversely, grounds optimism in evidence and realistic assessment. A realistically optimistic person might say, based on my preparation and current conditions, there's a good chance of success, but I also recognize factors X and Y that could pose challenges, and I have contingency plans. This isn't negativity, it's intelligent foresight. This connection to reality prevents the kind of decision-making errors fueled by unchecked optimism, such as underestimating risks, overcommitting resources based on unrealistic projections, or failing to adapt when circumstances change. Realistic optimism encourages flexibility and course correction because it acknowledges that the path forward might not be a straight, easy line as initially hoped. It allows for adjustments based on incoming data. Existentialist philosophy also offers insights relevant to realistic optimism. Thinkers like Camus or Sartre emphasized confronting the inherent absurdity, hardship, and lack of preordained meaning in life. Yet crucially, they didn't advocate despair. Instead, they highlighted the human freedom and responsibility to create meaning and value through our choices and actions, even in the face of a challenging or indifferent universe. Realistic optimism mirrors this existential courage. It acknowledges life's difficulties, the absurdity perhaps, without succumbing to nihilism. It affirms our capacity to act purposefully, to strive for goals, to build resilience, and to find meaning despite the challenges, not in denial of them. It's about choosing to light a candle rather than cursing the darkness, while fully acknowledging the darkness is there. So let's clearly contrast these perspectives. Pessimism fixates on the negative, anticipates failure, and often leads to inaction or resignation. It sees the cloud but ignores any potential silver lining. It assumes the worst and often, through that assumption, closes doors to possibility, becoming a self-fulfilling prophecy of negativity. Its worldview is constricted by fear and doubt. Naive optimism, as discussed, focuses exclusively on the positive, often ignoring or denying risks and challenges. It sees only the silver lining, sometimes pretending the cloud doesn't exist at all. Its hope is brittle, easily shattered by unexpected adversity, because it lacks the grounding in reality necessary to withstand storms. It can lead to poor preparation and significant disillusionment. Realistic optimism, in contrast, acknowledges both the cloud and the potential silver lining. It hopes for sunshine but prepares for rain. It maintains a positive outlook and belief in its capacity to act effectively, while remaining grounded in a clear-eyed assessment of reality, including its potential downsides. Its hope is robust, resilient, and actionable. It is optimism earned through awareness, not borrowed from denial. What are the tangible benefits of cultivating this realistic optimism? Firstly, it leads to significantly better problem-solving. By acknowledging potential obstacles up front, realistically optimistic individuals can devise strategies to mitigate or overcome them. They don't wait for crisis to strike. They anticipate possibilities and plan accordingly, making them more adaptable and effective when challenges arise. Secondly, resilience is dramatically increased. Facing setbacks is less destabilizing when you haven't built your entire worldview on the premise that setbacks won't happen. Realistic optimism includes the understanding that difficulties are part of life. This acceptance, combined with the belief in one's ability to cope, learned partly through Stoic-like preparation, allows for quicker recovery from adversity. Managing expectations is another key benefit. Naive optimism often sets impossibly high expectations, leading to constant disappointment. Realistic optimism sets achievable, yet still ambitious, goals, grounded in an understanding of the context and potential hurdles. This leads to less frustration and a greater sense of accomplishment when milestones are reached, even if the path wasn't perfectly smooth. Furthermore, realistic optimism fosters greater credibility and trust, both in oneself and from others. People who consistently demonstrate an awareness of potential challenges while maintaining a positive, proactive stance are often seen as more reliable and level-headed than those who seem disconnected from reality through excessive positivity or negativity. Their optimism feels earned and trustworthy. This grounded approach also encourages continuous learning and growth. Because realistic optimists accept that things might not go perfectly, they are more open to feedback and analyzing failures constructively. Setbacks are not seen as proof of inadequacy, as they might be in naive optimism, but as data points, opportunities to learn, adjust strategies, and improve for the future. So, how can we cultivate this more robust form of optimism in our own lives? It begins with awareness, noticing when we might be slipping into naive positivity or unproductive pessimism. It involves consciously choosing a middle path, one that holds hope and realism in balance. Several practical strategies, inspired by these philosophical insights, can help forge this path. First, practice gratitude but grounded in reality. Acknowledge and appreciate what is genuinely good in your life right now, without needing to pretend that everything is perfect. This contrasts with forcing gratitude for things you don't feel, or using gratitude to bypass genuine problems. Recognizing existing resources and strengths, however small, fuels realistic hope and provides a foundation for tackling challenges. Second, actively plan for obstacles. When setting a goal or embarking on a project, embrace the Stoic practice of premeditatio malorum in a practical way. Ask yourself, what could potentially go wrong here? What are the likely challenges? Then, brainstorm potential solutions or contingency plans. This isn't about dwelling on failure. It's about proactive problem solving and building confidence through preparedness. This obstacle planning directly counters the naive optimist's tendency to assume a smooth path. By identifying potential friction points, you mentally prepare for them. When a challenge does arise, it feels less like a catastrophic failure of positive thinking and more like an anticipated scenario for which you have already considered responses. This drastically reduces panic and improves adaptability. Third, shift your focus from guaranteed outcomes to dedicated effort and process. As the Stoics advised, much of the outcome is beyond our control. Instead of defining success solely by reaching the destination, find value and maintain motivation by focusing on the quality of your journey, the diligence of your work, the integrity of your actions, the learning gained along the way. This focus on effort builds internal validation. Your sense of worth and progress becomes less dependent on external results, which can be fickle. When you know you've given your best effort, acted virtuously, and learned from the experience, you can maintain a sense of accomplishment and optimism even if the specific desired outcome doesn't materialize exactly as hoped. This builds long-term perseverance. Fourth, practice reframing challenges as opportunities for growth. This isn't about pretending setbacks are inherently wonderful. It's about consciously looking for the potential lesson, the chance to build strength, or the opening for a different approach that a difficulty might present. Ask, what can I learn from this? How can this make me stronger or wiser? This transforms obstacles from mere negatives into potential catalysts. This reframing requires honesty. It doesn't deny the pain or frustration of a setback, but adds another layer of interpretation focused on potential benefit. A failed project might reveal flaws in planning, leading to better strategies next time. A difficult conversation might teach valuable communication skills. Finding the opportunity within the obstacle is a core skill of the realistic optimist. Fifth, cultivate self-compassion. Realistic optimism acknowledges that we are fallible human beings navigating a complex world. When setbacks occur, avoid harsh self-criticism. Treat yourself with the same understanding and kindness you might offer a friend facing similar difficulties. Acknowledge the struggle, learn from mistakes without dwelling on them, and encourage yourself to try again. Resilience requires self-kindness, not self-flagellation. Naive positivity often bypasses the need for self-compassion because it denies the validity of struggle. Realistic optimism, by acknowledging challenges, creates space for it. Understanding that effort won't always lead to the desired outcome, and that mistakes happen, allows for a more forgiving and sustainable relationship with oneself, which is crucial for long-term motivation and well-being. Sixth, seek out balanced perspectives. Surround yourself with people who offer grounded viewpoints, those who can support your aspirations while also helping you see potential risks or offering constructive criticism. Avoid echo chambers of pure positivity or pure negativity. Engaging with diverse, realistic viewpoints strengthens your own ability to assess situations accurately and maintain balanced optimism. Realistic optimism is not a fixed state but an ongoing practice, a skill to be honed. It requires constant attention to our thought patterns, a willingness to confront reality without flinching, and a commitment to act constructively even amidst uncertainty. It's a dynamic balance between hope and pragmatism, belief and evidence, aspiration and acceptance. It is the art of navigating life with open eyes and a hopeful heart. It challenges the simplistic notion that positivity alone is the key to a good life. While a hopeful outlook is undeniably beneficial, its effectiveness skyrockets when paired with realism, critical thinking, and emotional resilience. The shallow roots of naive positivity can't withstand life's inevitable storms, but the deep roots of realistic optimism, anchored in acceptance and preparation, can. Consider the domains where this approach is crucial: leadership, innovation, personal relationships, health management. In each, blindly positive thinking can lead to disaster, ignoring market risks, overlooking relationship problems, denying symptoms. Realistic optimism, however, allows for ambitious goals coupled with prudent risk management, open communication about challenges, and proactive health measures. The ancient wisdom of Stoicism provides not just a critique of naive thought, but practical tools, negative visualization, focusing on the controllable, accepting reality, that directly cultivate this robust optimism. These aren't pessimistic exercises. They are resilience-building practices designed to strengthen the mind against the inevitable friction of existence, allowing hope to persist on solid ground. Embracing realistic optimism means accepting that life involves navigating uncertainty and difficulty. It means understanding that strength isn't the absence of fear or doubt, but the courage to act purposefully despite them. It is the quiet confidence that comes not from ignoring the darkness, but from knowing you have the tools, the mindset, and the resilience to keep seeking the light within it. In summary, while the intention behind "just think positive" may be good, its application is often flawed and fragile. It encourages a denial of reality that can lead to poor preparation, emotional suppression, and eventual disillusionment. True, sustainable optimism requires a more nuanced approach, one that integrates hope with a clear-eyed view of potential challenges. Realistic optimism, informed by philosophies like Stoicism and principles of critical thinking, provides this balance. It acknowledges difficulties, plans for obstacles, focuses on effort within our control, and reframes challenges as growth opportunities. This creates a foundation of resilience that allows individuals to pursue goals effectively, navigate setbacks constructively, and maintain hope even when facing adversity. The key takeaway is not to abandon optimism, but to deepen it, to move beyond a superficial positivity towards a robust hope grounded in reality. It's about cultivating an inner fortitude that doesn't depend on external circumstances always being favorable, but thrives on navigating the complexities of life with wisdom, courage, and enduring belief in our capacity to strive and cope. This shift requires conscious effort and practice. It involves questioning automatic positive assumptions, engaging in deliberate reflection on potential challenges, focusing on process over outcome, and treating ourselves with compassion when things go awry. It is a journey towards a more authentic and resilient way of being in the world, one that ancient wisdom consistently points towards. So the question remains not if we should be optimistic, but how. Will you choose the fragile shield of naive positivity, hoping reality conforms to your wishes? Or will you embrace the sturdy armor of realistic optimism, acknowledging the world as it is, preparing diligently, and finding strength not in denial, but in your capacity to face whatever comes with clear eyes and a prepared, hopeful heart? The choice shapes not just your outlook, but your resilience.